Hi there. So when I left you in our last video, I asked you to try this word problem. Mrs. Hart got some school supplies. She got 44 pencils, some erasers, and 31 crayons. Altogether, she had 128 supplies. How many erasers did she get? Now, word problems are tricky because, first of all, there's a lot of words, even though we're trying to do math. So we've got to go sentence by sentence to decide what's happening in our story problem so we know what to do. So first we have Mrs. Hart got some school supplies. All right, so in my brain, I'm picturing Mrs. Hart, our principal, and school supplies. Next it says she got 44 pencils, some erasers, and 31 crayons. So now I'm picturing pencils, erasers, and crayons. Okay, and the next thing says altogether she had 128 supplies. So that means with the pencils, erasers, and crayons, there has to be a total of 128 supplies. The number can't be bigger to our answer because our question says how many erasers did she get? Well, we know she got 44 pencils, and we know she got 31 crayons. So now we have to figure out of the 128 supplies, how many of those are erasers? So we should circle our numbers first. So go ahead and do that if you didn't do it already. All right, so there we have it. We have our 44 circled, our 31 circled, and our 128. So now we have to figure out what to do with these three numbers. If you remember, when we see three numbers, we know that our problem is a two-step word problem. That means we're going to need two different steps or equations to figure out our answer. So we want to know how many erasers Mrs. Hart got. We know how many pencils, and we know how many crayons, and we know how many supplies she had all together, but we don't know how many erasers. So we can do two things. We can take the pencils and add the crayons, and so we'll know how many pencils and crayons. And then after we find out the answer to that, we can subtract that from all of the supplies to get our erasers. Or we can take our 128 and we can take away the pencils, get an answer, and then from that answer we can take away the crayons. I think we'll do both. Are you ready? First, we're going to start by adding the 44 pencils with the 31 crayons. All right, let's do it. Okay, so here we have it. Option A, we added our pencils with our crayons to find how many crayons and pencils. So I took 44 plus 31. I circled my 44 and put it at the bottom of my line. I did my base 10 blocks with 3 rods and 1 cube. Here's my 3 jumps to match my 3 rods and my 1 hop to match my cube. And I went 44, 54, 64, 74, plus 1 more is 75. Now my second step is going to be to take my whole amount of supplies, which is 128, and subtract the 75 crayons and pencils. And whatever answer we have left, that's how many erasers there are. All right, let's do it. All right, here's step 2 of our word problem. 128 minus 75. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. All right, let's do the counting. I hope you took your time because this one got a little bit tricky when I was subtracting my 10. 128 minus 10 is 118. Minus 10, 108, 98, 88, 78, 68, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53. And remember, sometimes when you don't have a lot of room, you can draw a little line so your brain knows that your answer is here and you're not squishing your numbers there. So now we found our answer. There are 53 erasers. Since we started with 128 supplies, we took away the crayons and the pencils that we counted and figured out in step 1 over here. And now we got our answer, 53 erasers. So if I was writing that in a complete sentence, it would say, Mrs. Hart got 53 erasers. All right, now we're going to go on to option B. That's the second way we could do it. And this time we're going to start with 128, and then we're going to take away the crayons. And whatever answer we get from there, then we're going to take away the pencils, and that should leave us with the same answer we got already. You ready to give it a try? If you want to just watch this one, you can. All right, let's go. All right, here's our second way to solve the problem. We started with the 128 for all of the supplies, and we subtracted 44 for the pencils. 128, 118, 108, 98, 88, 87, 86, 85, 84. So that 84 means that there are crayons and erasers left in that number. So now I jump down to step number 2. In step number 2, I'm taking away the crayons from the 84 supplies that are left. 84, 74, 64, 54, 53. And again, Mrs. Hart got 53 erasers. So now we solved our word problem 2 different times. And this was a 2-step word problem. I'm really proud of you for trying. And if you got the right answer on your own, give yourself a pat on the back. Awesome.